And then she baked you some cookies and everything was all right.
That was
Is
it.
that how it went down?
That was it. There was she did not uh I was her grandchild, and that was what was most important, and that's the way that it should be. It was not, and I'm trying to speak for her, but and I can't get in her mind. It may have upset her. I don't know what happened after I left her, or when I'm not, in her company. But she's never been anything different to me. She never she will still tell me from time to time that that God loves me, and that she just wanted me to know that, and that's as far as she'll push it. But she doesn't say, uh, I need to get you we need to get you right, because uh, if you were to die tomorrow, you would burn hell. It's not that. And you know what happens? She could probably have a better chance if I wasn't in the middle of like the whole atheist and Christian thing, and I wasn't as read up on all of the stuff as I am. If I'd have just been like Kyle in regular life before YouTube, uh,
Right.
saying things like that, like, I just want you to know that God loves you. God still loves you. Those things do more good than telling someone that they're going to burn for eternity, or that they're an abomination.
Oh, of
Leaving those
course.
little
I mean, that's
nuggets,
a given.
those right, and that's the way, and that's what these Christians miss about the Bible, is that that's the way that it's trying to push you to be. Treat others the way you want to be treated. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. Leave those seeds. There are so many times that the Bible mentions planting the seed. That's a seed.
Amen. Amen.
Letting somebody know that, hey, God still loves you, and leave it at that. That sticks with somebody. But you know what's going to push them as far away from you and as far away from the other side, and make them want to come after you with everything that they've got? When you put your finger in somebody's face and say, because you want to love who you love, you're going to burn for all of eternity. That is the quickest way to ensure someone stays an atheist. If you want to
Right. Well, they
bring
first
a
of all they feel hated. You feel hated by that person, and that's not. You don't feel like, oh, that person doesn't like me at all, and they want nothing to do with me. So you're not going to listen to them. You're going to totally tune them out. But go ahead.
yeah, it just doesn't make it, uh, just the logic aspect of it doesn't make sense to me. There's a worn out cliche saying that you attract more. Uh, what is it? You attract more bees with honey
Flies
than
with
venom.
honey. Yeah,
Yeah,
more bees with honey.
and it is dead on. And I wish, if 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 Christians really care for the souls of people like they say they do, then they should probably start talking to the soul and stop yelling at the sin, or what they deem to be the sin. The moment that you do that is the moment that, if you have any chance, is the moment that you're going to be able to break through to that person. Because degrading them and telling them that, uh, just because they want to be who they are, that makes them lower or not worthy, or anything like that, is just disgraceful. And let me say this in kind of closing, because I do have to get ready for my show here in just a little bit. But if it were me, and if I'm wrong, and I die, and it turns out that there is the God of the Bible, the Christian God, and it turns out that he is exactly what those uh, bigoted Christians, I call them, are. Those ones that throw that kind of fury and fire in your face. Then I don't think that's a God worth worshiping for all of eternity. I don't think that any grand architect that would take the time to create life in a way that he did, so detailed, so I mean, just every last thing planned out, that wound up in the perfect set of circumstances to allow for life on this planet. If he went through all of this time, if he went through all of these years watching and at times intervening and at times letting those painful things come around. I don't see that kind of creator that would throw such a large portion of his creations, more than 3/4. If the Christian God is the one that's correct, that means all the other ones are wrong. That means that 3/4 of the things that he made by hand and that he knew by name, and he knew the hairs on their heads, he is going to burn alive those creations, 3/4 of them, for eternity. It is unconscionable for me to accept that is the case. It does not make sense. It doesn't make it is not right. And if it turns out that is true, that the one that knew everybody by name did throw 3/4 of his creations in an endless pit of hell, then you will not catch me worshiping a God like that. And I'm fine being thrown in with the rest of them, because at some point you have to have the moral fiber inside of you to take a step back and look at what's right and what's wrong. Just simply put that way, what's right and what's wrong. And think about this. Are you worshiping that God out of fear of going to hell, or because you want to go to heaven? If those things were taken off the table and you just cease to exist when you die, would you still love God the same? That's the question that I always ask Christians. If the punishment and the reward were taken off the table, what would your relationship be like with God? I guarantee you, for the majority, it would be radically different.
Possibly. The thing I will say about the first part of what you said is you're supposed to be an ambassador for Christ. An ambassador does not pick the boniest thorn of contention between you and someone who is not a Christian and start throwing it in their face. So that's not actually good stewardship. It's not actually trying to, or what a good ambassador does is take the parts that you both agree on. You know, the parts that you're both like, yes, we both think the same thing. And then you work from there. You don't take the part where the person is the furthest away and you go, you're going to burn in hell for that. That's just not, it's not wise.
That's why I said if more Christians were like you, there would not be an atheist versus theist thing. It would just be those who believed and those who just didn't have a belief, and you'd have these. Well,
but you also put your finger on the role of the Christian. You at least got enough evangelical training, is to plant seeds. It's not for you to come on my show and me to convince you that Jesus is real in the context of my show. That isn't how it works. And the best case scenario for me, if evangelizing is my goal, let's just say, I'm not sure that's what it is for this show, but let's just say it was. It's just to plant seeds. It's just to, the best seed in this situation would be just to listen to somebody. So you go, okay, Christians can listen. Christians can listen without.
Well, this is the way that it should be. And that's why I'm glad you're doing this. Like, you should be able to have these deep conversations between people who have radically different ideologies, and it not be about winning one to the other side. It just being about a conversation on why the other takes the position that they do. Like, this is should not be a contest, should not be keeping score. This is just a conversation. And if more people were able to have these kind of conversations, there wouldn't be the turmoil that you have in every situation across the globe. If everybody is simple, if everybody worried about themselves and worried about what they need to do, for a Christian, let's say if you are Christian, worry about how your relationship is with God.
Right.
And that's it. And let the other people decide if they wanted to have that relationship. And if they didn't, then you've got way too much to look after on your plate to worry about anything else that anybody else is doing. The world will be a much better place.
That's one of the reasons why I put out a video on this, and I'll probably put out more in the future. But one of the reasons why I don't take your beliefs, you personally, Kyle, I don't take your beliefs personally. You can believe what you want. You come on my show and I ask you questions and you're cool to me. It doesn't really matter to me to what you believe when you go home at night. I don't even understand that mindset. Yeah, I'm supposed to, on some level, witness the gospel or evangelize. I feel like I do a sufficient job of that. I don't need to do that while you're sitting here right in front of my face. I just
Yeah.
want to find out how you got, when you asked me, what are we going to do? This is exactly how I planned this show was going to go. You were going to sit here and tell me how you got to where you got and feel hopefully non-defensive doing it. Correct?
No, not at all. And that's a thing that I get through on our show. We have so many people, such a wide a range of people that come on our show, and it's never like we might get into passionate back and forths, but when the show ends, I'm able to be completely pleasant and none of the shouting or anything like that happened because I separate the passionate back and forth from the individual. Like I don't take it personal. You said it perfectly, and you can't take it personally because I have nothing against the people that I have come on the show that it may seem like I have disagreements with. I have a lot against the ideas, and that's who I'm talking to when we have those discussions. But I can still be, I'm really good friends with a lot of Christians. I don't take it beyond that. You know what I'm saying? It's not a campaign for me to try to either get you to our side, so to speak, or to demean
Shut
you
me
in any way.
down and right.
Yeah, it's just one. It's
Right.
just
No, that's why I thought you'd be a good guest because I got that already. People who I invite on my show, I've already picked up on that fact. It's not some sort of random coincidence. I've already seen them publicly and said, "Hey, that guy will be cool and reasonable," and um, there's
why'd you
something
have
to be
Stephen?
learned. Why did or why didn't I? I didn't.
Why did?
Steve's the only one who invited himself. He invited himself.
Yeah.
Everybody else I invited. He said he watched Drew's and he said, "Hey, I'll come and tell you about playing with the Ouija board and how I conjured up the devil or something like that." And I was like, "Yeah, it sounds like a good show. Let's
Just never
roll."
bring up agnosticism. You'll never leave. Yeah, it'll be the hangout that never ended.
Yeah, but then he'll do that like splitting of hair. That's the one conversations that drive me mad on these type of things when people do the defining terms for like
Yeah.
well, agnostic really means no,
Well, it's important.
an atheist agnostic is and you're like kill myself
It's
now.
it's important to define your terms and try to make sure you're on the same page. But I completely agree with you in the fact that there's only so many definitions for the word no. Like when you say, "What do you mean by the word no?"
Right.
Like there's only so many definitions that you can do from that. But I agree. But yeah, man, this has been excellent. I hate that I have to kind of dive out, but we've got a
Yeah,
debate.
it's been 2.5 hours at least. So this is exactly how I thought it was going to go, Kyle. And as I said to Cirrus, the door's open anytime you want to come in and chat, run your little head off about whatever, how terrible the world is. Feel free, shoot me a DM,
The
and we'll set something up.
the world. Let me end on this. The world, everyone, is not terrible or bad, and people at their very core, for the most part, are good. Even if you disagree with them theologically, people, I believe, at their core are good. Sometimes people get misguided, but the world's a beautiful place. And if I'm right, you only get to experience it once. So do everything that you can to make the most of every single day. And anything that gets in the way of you living life the way you want to and to maximize the happiness that you have, throw it out and live. And I appreciate it, Craig.
Hey, man, anytime, my friend, anytime. Good chat. And
Totally
with
agree.
that, what? We'll
We'll
sign
say,
off.
sweet. Good deal, man.
Cool,
Much
man.
fun.
Yeah, let me go kill